Hi, welcome to Let's Cook Today. What a great way to start out the new year with email requests. So that's what we're doing today on Let's Cook. Email requests that came through, and we're starting out the new year with that. First one I got is from Jack, and Jack said, I need a recipe for shrimp and lobster sauce. So that's what we're going to do today, our first recipe anyway. I have the ingredients right here for the shrimp and lobster sauce. And now the lobster sauce is actually made with ground pork, coarsely ground pork here, a little bit of ginger, some scallions, soy sauce, garlic of course, egg, and shrimp. And then we lightly thicken it with cornstarch, and we use a little chicken stock in it as well. First thing we're going to do is let's take a look at the ginger here. Now with ginger, there's a couple of different ways you can peel ginger. One way you can peel the ginger is you can take it and with a paring knife or a peeler, you can peel it off this way, but you end up losing too much of the ginger. I find it's a little easier to just use a spoon, and this way you can just scrape off the skin of the ginger, and you can even get in between the nooks there where you're not going to cut it all away. So that's how I like to do the ginger. Then all I'm going to do with the ginger is I like to mash it too. So we'll just take a few thin slices of ginger right here, and with my knife at the edge of the board here, I'm not going to have my hand there, I'm just going to take this and mash it this way. See how nice that works up? Much easier. Totally pulverizes the ginger, then I can use the ginger right away. So I have my ginger ready here along with my garlic. I'm going to now heat my pan, get the pan very hot. We want the pan really, really hot. We're going to use just a little bit of peanut oil or safflower oil here in the bottom, just enough to coat the bottom of the pan here, not too much. As a matter of fact, I think I've just put a little bit too much in here. Let me just take a little bit of this away. A little bit too much oil in here. So we're going to let that oil get nice and hot, and I'll show you what we have to do with the pork while the pan's getting hot. With the pork, what we would do, and you can see here, I have a pork medallion right here that I bought. With my knife, I'm just going to cut the pork this way, very thin like that. Then we'll just take it this way, cut it here this way, and then with your knife you'll use a rocking motion, and you'll really cut it up really fine. You want to cut the pork really fine with your knife. You could use a Cuisinart as well too, but for this little amount of pork that we really need, I wouldn't use a Cuisinart, just like this. And the reason it's called shrimp with lobster sauce is because a lot of times this sauce would be used with lobster. So my pan is nice and hot now. In go my shrimp. And by the way, you can marinate the shrimp, but you really don't have to. So we're just going to drop our shrimp into the pan here. These are cleaned and butterflied. They're absolutely gorgeous shrimp, so we'll just, enough just to cover the bottom of the pan. Get our shrimp in here. Along with our shrimp, we're also, at this time, going to also add our pork to this. So we'll just take our pork, slide our pork into the pan as well, right along with the shrimp. That's going to cook up very fast. Along with that, a little bit of ginger and garlic in here. Not too much. Okay? Going to let that start to cook. Now, while this is cooking, we're going to go ahead and get our sauce ready. I have a bowl right here. Into the bowl right now, I'm just going to add a little bit of cornstarch. Along with that, just a little bit of chicken stock. You could also use water if you wanted, but the chicken stock is a good idea. I'm just going to dissolve this now. So now this will be ready to make my sauce right away. So take our shrimp now. We're going to turn them over right here. Just turn these over. Beautiful. And we don't want to overcook the shrimp. That's the worst thing that you can do is overcook the shrimp. So once they're about this point right here, I'm now going to go ahead and add my cornstarch with my chicken stock. Turn the pan down a little bit just so this simmers, just till my shrimp are barely cooked. And you see how my sauce is thickening up here? Perfect. So we're going to let that cook for just a second. Now we have to cut our garnish. Our garnish here is I'm just going to use a few scallions right here. They're going to go in the sauce as well. So I have my scallions right here. Now ready to take out our shrimp. Take out our shrimp. We're going to lay them out on the platter right here. You can stand them up or lay them down. You know what I'm going to do? I think I'm just going to lay them down right here on the platter. You'll notice that the shrimp are nice and opaque, that they're really not overdone. You don't want it to be too overdone because then it'll get very tough. And look at the consistency that we have of the sauce right here. See how nice this is? Actually, this is even a little thick. Let me just show you the sauce here. Just a little thick here. So what I'm going to do is I'll just take a little chicken stock right here, add a little bit more stock. We're going to thin that down, bring this up to a simmer. Now we have to add the egg to this. To add the egg, same bowl I used my cornstarch in, I'm just going to take my egg right now, drop this down this way, little bit of soy sauce in here just for flavoring. Going to beat this up. Then all we do is we pour this in a steady stream right into our pan here where the pork is. Let this come up a little bit. Add our scallions to this. Then we simply pour this right over the shrimp. And we have a delicious shrimp and lobster sauce right there. Oh, so easy. Love this dish. I have some people in the audience here today that are going to love it just as much. We're going to take a little break right now, and then when we come back, we have another shrimp e-quest today on Let's Cook, and it has to do with shrimp scampi style, and we're going to do a franchise. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook, where we are doing a shrimp e-quest. That means that we have email requests from different people. Actually, Rich and Joe. This item actually covers Rich and Joe because Joe wanted to know what kind of wine to use, and basically I usually use a dry white wine if I'm making something that's going to be sauteed. Unless I want a sweet touch to it, then I would use a fortified wine. So that's what you're going to do, Joe, and a wine you like to drink. Then Rich said, I need a good recipe for scampi. So we're actually going to make a shrimp scampi today, but we're going to do it in the style of Francaise, which means we're going to egg coat it as we saute it. So I have the ingredients right here for the Francaise, and I have some shallots here, some garlic, a little bit of parsley. We're using white wine, a little lemon juice. We have our shrimp, then we have flour and egg. Now in my pan right now, I already have some butter with some oil, and it's just about to start browning. I'm going to take my shrimp now, season them with salt and pepper. Then we're going to dredge them into the flour here, and I'm just going to put them right in the flour here, just like this, because I have to get them all in the pan at the same time. So we'll put them in the flour here with the seasoned side down. Then I'll just take a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper here, and so I season both sides. We'll then shake off the excess flour before we go into the egg. But we coat both sides of the shrimp here with this, then we go right into the egg. You'll notice I'm not going from the egg into the frying pan yet either, because I don't have them all dredged yet. And I really want to be ready to do this all at once. So now I'm just going to take my shrimp, lay them into the pan this way. My pan is not too hot because we don't want to burn the egg. We want a nice golden color on this. So we're just going to drop them in here. And whenever you see the term Francaise, what it really means is it means a flour and egg coating. That's all it really means, in an egg batter. So we're dropping our shrimp in here. They look great. Going to let these start to cook. Now the other thing that I'm going to do is I don't want my shrimp to curl up. So I'm just going to show you a simple trick if you have an extra pan in your kitchen. Let's get this one in here too. If you have an extra pan in your kitchen, what you can do is you can take this pan like this. Make sure it's nice and clean on the bottom here. I'm going to take just a little bit of oil here. Now, yes, you are going to have to wash two pans. I'm going to oil the bottom here, and I'm going to put that on top of my shrimp. That way my shrimp won't curl up while they're cooking. I've increased the heat here so that we can brown them. Then we're going to make the sauce for these. Now to make this sauce, when you're talking about scampi, we need garlic in there. Now, because I have an egg coating here on my shrimp, I'm not putting the garlic and shallots in there to make the sauce, because if I were to do that, it won't really go well with the egg batter. So let me just clean up my area here because I'm almost ready to turn my shrimp. Come right over here. See how the pan did not stick? Stays nice and clean. My shrimp are now ready to turn. So we're just going to take and turn our shrimp over so that we get that great egg coating there, which is going to keep the shrimp nice and moist. And you'll also notice that they're staying nice and flat. Get our shrimp turned over here. And it's a very light egg coating that we have on these. Just take my pan now, put my pan back on top of these. These are going to cook for roughly about 2 more minutes before I go to make our sauce. So I think we're going to take a little break right now, and then we're going to let these cook. Then I'll show you how to make the sauce as well. So don't go anywhere. It's definitely shrimp E-Quest today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Let's Cook, where we are doing shrimp E-Quest. Now, we have our shrimp that we sauteed with the egg batter. That's the franchise. Then in the pan right here, I have the butter and oil that was left. Now we're going to make our sauce right in here, our scampi sauce. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pan, pour off some of that excess fat. Into this now goes my shallots and more garlic. The more garlic you like, the better. We're going to cook this just a little bit. Now we're going to deglaze this with a little bit of white wine. Okay, Joe. That's just a Joe's request. When you cook with white wine, cook with something you like to drink. It's going to pass that flavor on. It gives it the flavor of the grape. We're going to let this cook down till it's almost dry. Then to this now, I'm going to add just a little bit of fish stock right there, or clam juice if you don't have fish stock. A little bit of clam juice. We're going to bring this up to a simmer. Then we're going to add a little bit of whole butter here just to tighten it up a little bit. A little bit of whole butter in there. This is not much. That's about a ½ tablespoon for 2 servings of shrimp. The butter is going to help to thicken the sauce a little bit. Then I'm going to add a little lemon juice here. Give it the complexity, build the flavors a little bit. Little bit of lemon juice in here, no seeds at all. Beautiful. Need to let that acid cook out a little bit on the lemon juice before I add the parsley, otherwise it'll discolor the parsley. Then we'll take a little bit of chopped parsley in here. See that great bright green color coming? Perfect. My shrimp franchise scampi style, or shrimp scampi franchise style, is now done. We'll just take our sauce now. We'll pour it right over the shrimp here. Oh, that's definitely working for me. We're going to take a little break right now, and then when we come back, we are talking about a shrimp gumbo that I actually called down to New Orleans today to find out a little trick with the okra. So it's definitely shrimp E-Quest today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook, where we are doing shrimp E-Quest today on Let's Cook. That means our email requests that came in that deal with different items. So now we're making gumbo. So to make the gumbo, we have a few steps that we have to go through. First thing I have here is I have a little bit of ham, and I have a little bit, you can use andouille. I'm actually using a little bit of chorizo sausage. We're going to take the ham here, and we're going to dice it up. In addition to this ham, we use what is known as the trilogy. The trilogy has to deal with celery, peppers, and onions. And this is from New Orleans. Now, Steve St. Romain, who's on camera number 1, wave hi with the camera, Steve, thank you. Steve's mother is from New Orleans. He's from New Orleans as well. And so I said, you know, we're going to do a little bit of gumbo here. Does your mother have any tricks? Because she's been making it a lot longer than me. So we called Madeline this morning, and Madeline said, well, I like to fry my okra before I put it in. There's a couple of different ways. First of all, gumbo, you need to know, should contain okra. Now, I have a piece right here. This is what the okra looks like right here. You can see it in my hand right here. Now, you can take this okra, and it produces a slime when you cook it, so you can blanch it, and then you can fry it, or you can blanch it, then wash it off, cut it down into slices, wash it off, and use that in your gumbo. And that's what we're doing today. So I'm going to start here. I have a little bit of oil in the pan here. I'm going to start with my chorizo sausage here. This is going to give it a little bit of heat. I'm also going to add my ham here. And a lot of times when you make a gumbo, it's really a leftover meal, where you go into the refrigerator and you're going to use leftovers that are left there to really make it, as long as it contains the okra and also, you know, the filet, the gumbo filet, which is optional. And that's actually the bark of the sassafras tree. So we're going to sweat these off a little bit. Along with this, now we add our trilogy. Get our peppers in here, our onions with our bay leaves. I put some bay leaves right in with the onions there. A little bit of celery. How's this smell? Oh, it's smelling pretty good to me. Now, because of the salt in the ham, we don't really have to salt this. Just going to let this start to cook off a little bit here. Now, Next thing we have to do is, I have everything in there. I need to brown this up a little bit. Oh, I have to take our chicken. Now I have some chicken thighs right here. And I got skinless, boneless chicken thighs. All I did is I diced them up. I'm just going to take these, I'm going to put them in a dish here so that I can season them before they go into the gumbo. So, here we are. Just season these up with some salt and pepper right here. Great. There we are. Beautiful. Salt and pepper. Now we add these. We're going to brown these up as well. So we get our chicken in there too. Now, you really want this to cook for a while here to cook that chicken off. I'm going to turn this up a little bit, let that start to cook off. The other thing that goes in gumbo, need it, tomato product. I have a little bit of tomato product here, not too much. We always want to make sure we get a little bit of tomato in there. The other thing, scallions. We're going to use some scallions in there too. Let's talk about the okra now. Well, this is browning up just a little bit. I have some okra right here. Actually, where's it? Can we see that shot again where we had the okra right there? The okra here that was fried in the pan. Did we show that? There we are. See my okra that's fried in the pan here? All it is I took okra, I sliced it, I blanched it, then I fried it up a little bit. And this was Madeline's trick. This is how she likes to have the okra. And it goes in at the very end. Let's take a look here and see how our chicken's doing. Chicken's doing well. Next is your stock. I have some beautiful brown stock here that I'm going to now add to this. I'm going to let this brown stock just gently simmer with all our meat and vegetables. The shrimp doesn't go in yet. Don't need the shrimp in there yet. So we're just going to let this simmer up and let those flavors kind of come together with that bay leaf. The other thing, a lot of times when people make gumbo, they'll take greens. I have some spinach here. But they'll add the greens to this, sometimes 7 greens into the gumbo. I think it has to do with, I'm not sure if it has to do with the 7 sacraments, okay, or, yeah, I think it has to do with actually the 7 sacraments. So, we're going to put a little bit of green in here. The other thing that's very important when you're making a gumbo is the roux. 2 roux here. Now, first of all, I'll tell you what a roux is. A roux is equal parts by weight fat and flour cooked. It could be oil as well. I use butter to make these with a little bit of oil in here. This is my white roux. This is my brown roux. Look at the difference here. Now, when you're making this brown roux, you can't leave this. Once you add, and you need clarified butter to make this too. Clarified butter is butter that's been boiled off, where you've cooked all the solids off and you've strained them away, and the milk liquids that were in there, you cook down till they were almost golden brown, and you pour that butter fat through a strainer. That's your clarified butter. See the different color here? This would make it was not going to give it the character. It's not going to give my gumbo the character at all. So, once it's simmering like this, I'm going to add a few greens to this. I'm now going to start to thicken this with my gumbo. So this is the one that we started with. We started right over here. As you can look at the ingredients there that we used to make this. But this is the one that we started with right over here, where I cooked and I browned the meat right in here. And the one they just showed you on the screen with the ingredients is the one that's already done. Now I'm going to gradually add my roux into this. And you're going to see that this is going to start to thicken up beautifully. Once my roux is in, and we would let this simmer, in a perfect world, for at least a half an hour now. Then I would add my okra and my shrimp. We're just going to cook these shrimp till they're barely cooked. They'll only take about 3 minutes. We don't want our shrimp to be too tough. Then we would take to serve this. I'm going to take just a little bit of rice right here, right in the middle of the plate here. And then we would serve our gumbo all the way around this. I'm actually going to start to dish this up without the shrimp, so you can see how nice this looks. Finishing this with just a little bit of scallion on top. And that's our gumbo. So, for our shrimp quest today, we did the gumbo. In addition to that, we did our wonderful shrimp and lobster sauce. And last but not least, we did our shrimp francaise. Thanks so much for watching Let's Cook today. We love your email requests. Keep them coming in. You have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.